Hello everyone, this video is for the more advanced features of ProPresenter 7. I decided to do this on my phone instead of a screen capture because it'll be a little bit easier for me. So I'm going to go through some of the advanced things. I'm not going to go through some of the basics other than up here in the playlist. I just wanted to point out that we do have other playlists other than our worship service master that we deal with on a Sunday. So of course we have things like Christmas Eve. So I have some playlists for some of our common events that we have throughout the year. For example, the Heartbeats Banquet, where in the library up here, I've created HB kind of things. And, so as these are kind of annual events, maybe you can just kind of update these as you go along and change them out. Same thing with Kingdom Pillars. You could change that by just right-clicking and renaming, but I also have like a memorial service, so a lot of those services have a photo loop, and so on. So let's go back to our worship service master, and notice this stuff is still up here, so I have to click into something here in this playlist, and now we're back. As a reminder, if we want to add anything to a service, add anything to a playlist, your best way is to do it search. Let's go through a basic thing though really quick before we do that. For example, here I'm looking at the announcements, the slides loop. Notice some of these are kind of darkened or grayed out. That is because they're disabled. So there's different times where you want to do that. For example, this promotion Sunday was a slide that was created quite some time ago. And because it's not coming up for a whole nother month, it is disabled. You just simply right click on it and then you enable it, and now it's bright, and now it'll be a part of that presentation. I'm going to disable it and it goes back to gray. So that's a very convenient way. For example, in our announcement sections, for example, maybe a family Sunday that's grayed out. We don't want to delete it and then have it have to reload it in a few months. We can simply disable it and then enable it and shift it around as needed. So we've already got that one in there as well. And of course we can, delete what we don't need and whatnot. Don't forget that, where's the delete? Down below. I'm looking at my camera while I'm doing this. You can click and shift these things around as needed, put the timer at the end. Let's move on. One of the next kind of more involved things is the countdown. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to delete these and start kind of fresh. So we've got countdown. As a reminder, down here in this media playlist, we can shift our mouse and make this a little bit bigger to make it easier on ourselves. So first of all, for this week, we had been going with Spring Journey. So what I can do is go to countdowns, and these should be alphabetized. If they're not, you can simply, I think anywhere, you can right click and then clean up by name, and it'll reorder them in the correct alphabetical order. So I'm looking for Spring Journey, so I'm going to just use my mouse and slide and go down. Let's see, I'm not seeing it. Spring Journey, there it is. So again, I just click and drag and place it. And typically, we'll try to match that picture. So now if I go back to my motion backgrounds and I find Spring Journey again, I have to scroll for a while. Sorry, that's probably going to be a little annoying on the camera. And of course, another thing I could have done is just kind of copied and pasted that. Let's see, that is Spring Journey number 1. So of course I click and drag and put it here. There's a couple things with the video, and this will be just kind of a video section in general, but we'll show you with the countdown. As a reminder, on the top left of this thumbnail, you got a lot of information. Right now it's showing us that is a background. So step number one is that needs to be into the foreground. So that would be media, action, behavior, and put it on foreground. If you don't, I'm actually going to switch that to show you an error. I'm going to leave it on background, but let's pretend. So the next step would be the inspector. And that inspector is a great way to kind of manipulate any slide, whether it's a video or not. And then you want to go to this kind of settings icon, or properties, what they're calling it in this software, properties. And the main thing that you don't want is the loop. We want to stop, so that'll automatically go to the next one, or we'll get to that step, stop. Next, you can move these sliders here to either begin a video. Basically, you're cropping the video. So I'm going to click and drag. And what I like to do is kind of get this back to where it's still, when it hits 0, it's still kind of bright. And it takes a second for that image, that thumbnail, to refresh. So I don't know if you noticed my mouse. I'll click it back to 0, and I'll let go. And at that point, I like that. So I'm going to hit X. And our last, there's basically 3 steps. One of the last steps is the automatic advance. So I right click, go to next timer, and because basically at the end of this video, we want it immediately to go on to the next one. I hit 0, so that immediately at the end it goes to the next thing. Now you'll notice by what is selected here, if I click this now, it boom automatically goes to that, and it didn't play this video. Why is that? Well, it's because it's in the background and I need it in the foreground. So media, action, behavior, foreground. Now when I click it, notice how it stays and it's playing. And I've got my confirmation over here on the right hand side where I can view the video. Now what I like to do is kind of preview that. And a quick way to get to the end is click that 30-second, and now it's to the 30-second. And I can see this up here because on my video switcher I had changed that. But I can also just click and drag. And sorry for a little bit of the delay. Sorry for the shaking camera. My arm is getting tired here. But now when it hits that point where that I created, now it automatically goes to that next slide. So that is how you prepare a video. For example, find my mouse again here. The ministry moment this week, what could have been done, or what should have been done, is first of all, we want it to automatically go to the next slide, or maybe there's a logo, maybe this was like a ministry that had a logo, we could copy, and then if we kind of click in the empty space, whoops, and hit Command V for paste, or under the edit is paste. Command V. So I could have had this advanced slide, and the way to do that is just go to next timer and 0 and done. Notice because it's in the foreground, when it got to the end of this video, it would have gone there. Maybe there was 5 seconds of black. Well, we could have changed that by going to the inspector, clicking on properties, and then clicking and dragging our little slider here to edit out that last bit. What could have, if that's the actual last frame and that wanted to stay up there, that'd be a great way to just hold the last frame. And maybe we didn't want that to automatically advance, so we would just remove, go to next timer, and now it would stay on that last frame, and we can delete this. So that is video preparation. I want to talk about something here, and I want to make this a little bit smaller now that I'm done with this. Click in, drag all the way down, and now we're back here. With video input, first of all, ignore the input 1. Even though your video switcher might be on a different one, what that is seeing is the computer, or the software specifically, is seeing input 1. That's why I named this ATEM, because the switcher is named ATEM. A quick review: when ProPresenter works in layers, So if I click that and remove that layer, click that and remove that layer, the camera, or click that, whoops, and if I cleared all that, I have to select the input here again, and then I hit camera 1 on my switcher and it's there. And then if I click the slide, notice it's above, so now if I hit 3, but if I click and get rid of it, rid of these, go back to 1, it's the camera is up there, and that would be up on the screen as well because of the layers. So the reason why I say that, let's talk about adding something a little bit more advanced, like say for example baptisms. First of all, we're in our search, we're in our library, as opposed to say the song select where we would add songs that are not in the library. Baptisms, so I start typing in baptisms, and there it is. So I just click and drag and put it wherever it's going to be appropriately in the service, and then I click on that. Notice now my input is there, and I've got these names here, but I need to change those for whoever's getting baptized this week. So I right click and I edit slide. This is going to bring up this other window where now you've got multiple people that are going to be baptized. So in this case, the last time we had baptism, we had 3 people, but say for example we needed more. Well, we could simply copy, and then if paste, and just add more people. So now you see I have 4, and of course it has the same name. Now over here, what you want to do is click and then kind of double click in here and then change what needs to be changed. I'm going to put that back, and I believe that, yeah, that is set to be all caps there. So basically, let's review that. You know, say I've got that one done, and then I want to go up here to a different one. So I would kind of click once and then double click in here, and then even with my arrow keys I can move around and change that. You do have some settings as far as like, it's kind of like a Word document. I need to find my mouse again. Where'd my mouse go? There I am. Where you can click and drag some of the boundaries, you know, to adjust where things are at. But I would just leave that and edit each one of those, copy and paste that. And then once you're out of that, what you need to do is go back to the show. Remember, whenever you're kind of editing anything, and then you want to go back, just go back to the show. You're not actually kind of clicking that big X there. So that is manipulating, for example, video with baptisms. We also have another thing with children's moment, like on a family weekend. So we could just type in moment if you can't remember children's, and there's the children's. So same thing, click and drag. Say we want to have that right before, instead of a ministry moment. So same thing, children's moment, and then we have the video. So now, wherever we adjust the preferably this camera 1, but we would have to have it selected down here, and it would show up onto the screens because that's what is selected here. I'm going to remove that, but there's your children's moment for like a family weekend. Let's see, there's delete. Baptisms, I'm going to delete that. And then finally, one of the most advanced things would be adding Bible. So if we want to add Bible, we come up here, we click, and I'm just going to make up something off the top of my head. Let's do Psalm 63. I hit enter. Now there's also this button here, which will bring up, you know, you can kind of find it the long way, if you will. But whatever you put in there, say I put 1 through 5 instead of 1 through 11, and then I hit enter, it's going to change it. I also have some different versions here. Click that, and it automatically changed it. So once I have my version and the settings correctly, leave everything alone. Come down here to the bottom and do a save as, save to playlist, and we'll do master. Now when I hit that, now we have ends up adding it kind of wherever I was kind of selected last, and now we can change and say move it around to there. But this is still up here, so again, it's because we're on Bible, we need to go back to show. And now that we've got that, maybe we needed to edit that down. Maybe there's a verse inside of that we needed to change. So now that we've got it, we can right-click and edit slide, and now we're up in here. And say we wanted to, just remove this verse 3. So I've clicked once, and now I can kind of double-click to get my mouse, and I'm clicking and dragging, and say we want to get rid of verse 3. Now because it was formatted, it's going to keep that verse 4 that way, but maybe I wanted to fix that and make it a little bit better. So again, I click once, you'll see the little dots there appear. Whoops. I shifted that box and didn't want to, so I'm going to hit Command Z for undo and get that back. So I should have double clicked and then highlighted. I'm going to hit Command X for cut. I'm going to move down, hit delete to shift that up. Go back here, single click, double click. I'll put a space just in case, Command V for paste or paste, and there it is. And that's how you can kind of manipulate that. You can manipulate this down here as well, click and then double click and change all that. So once that is kind of in your playlist, that's when you go back and edit, and then we go back. Now, let's talk about this. For the quick of this, say we wanted to read this before the scripture. Let's do a couple things. Let's just go click and we'll copy, and then we'll click here, Command V for paste, and shift it up here. Now the unique thing about Bible is if we were to show this right now on our live stream, see how it's all messed up? It's because we need to show it as an announcement. So over here, if I leave that, destination target, I click that, announcements. And you'll see that turn green, and you'll also see it over in our playlist, it turns green. Now what that does, oh that's right, ignore that for a second. So now it'll show it appropriately here in 2 seconds. And actually, yeah, perfect. I'm going to click that. Why is that not doing that? Okay. So as far as the sanctuary, technically that would be showing, and it's not on our live stream. And you saw before when I clicked this, it was showing on the live stream all messed up, but now it's not. Again, that's because it's the announcement, which is here, as opposed to the presentation. So we have to have it on announcement. And now if I hit input 3, we'll see, okay, now it looks like we are used to seeing it. And then we go through, clicking the next slide. But notice if I just keep going, and now if I get to that, oh, I already have this set up. That is purely by coincidence. But yeah, there's a good example. But it's kind of doing double. Here's the last step with Bible, or any kind of announcement, if you will, is on the following slide. Notice this right here where it's got an X, clear announcement. So that's why it's disappearing there, is because we had set up a clear announcement. Let's set it up on here instead. So I've right click and I go to add action, clear, and now we have all these options of what we want to clear, and we go down to announcement, because remember we had set up the scripture as an announcement. So we're going to clear the announcement, and now you see that this icon appeared here. So now if I go back here, so that is showing that lyric. So let's do this. So let's go back. So say I'm here, I show my scripture. Again, this is what is showing on the screen, and it's showing on my live stream only because I selected it here. Go to here. So now when I click this, it makes that announcement go away instead of kind of that overlapping that was happening. So let's remove that actually. So we could actually remove remove actions. We get rid of that, and our little icon is gone now. So now, if we go back and we click the scripture, see it's messed up. So again, whenever we add scripture, we have to change it to an announcement, and then the following slide, I actually typically do double. That's why you see it on this one here, is I do it double just in case my operator clicks on the lyric instead of the background, which is next. So clear announcement. So now when I click this, it clears the announcement, and now it's ready. And the reason why we're seeing double is because I'm still selected down there. If I select camera 1, now we have our live stream feed. So the steps with the Bible is we have to make an announcement and then clear the announcement. And I believe that is going to end our video there. I've talked through, I believe, everything that is kind of more advanced with our setup in ProPresenter 7. So have a great one. God bless you.